What's his name?
Kevin. Palmetto Cat. Yeah.
Okay. And I know because that's
all right. We got everybody in. We're starting to get some people in here. We got Avid Fisherman, Kentucky Crazy, 351's already jumped in. Maurice. Yep, there they are. Not showing up on my thing, but they're in here now. Appreciate y'all coming in. Make sure y'all share this out. Get everybody in here. We're gonna have an awesome show today. Just talking about everybody's thing that they always have to do, and especially when they go catfishing, they got to go after bait. So, I mean, panfish is the way to go. I mean, you got to get that bait. So, that's what we're going to talk about today. So welcome to What's in Your Tackle, episode number 14. I am Kelly Bullock with the Bullock Experience. This is Trey Bolton with FishSmack.
How's it going, guys?
And soon probably to change his name.
Correct. The Redundant Fisherman. I said
love
it today.
Yeah, I love it. That would be awesome to get that changed over. It'd be pretty cool.
Kind of a joke, but right now it's like I'm hiding in the creeks and I'm just doing the same thing over and over and over. It's like I hate uploading redundant content at this time right now until the lakes die down. I'm hiding. So
yeah. I mean I'm pretty much there with you now. So
yeah.
I mean I'm having a better chance at hitting the creeks than I am hitting the catfish. So.
You know, the thing too, I have so much better luck in the summers when the dog days of summer get here. Yeah. I do better in those creeks. You know, like I said, I'm not going to catch monster fish, but I would rather go out and have a day where I'm catching 10 smallies, you know, that are 12, 13. Now, this past weekend, I ended up catching 7, and I did land my personal best. I caught a 19-inch out of the creek, and I was blown away by the size of them, and then turned around and caught another 16-inch. But if I go to lakes, you know, the water temperature gets warm, the fish spread out, and I mean, I'm still inexperienced a lot of this, so it's learning how to locate those fish in the lakes.
Yeah.
I go to a creek, I know where the pockets are. I get in the shade. The fish are more than likely going to be there. You just got to figure out what they want to fight on. So I just have much better luck hitting the creeks during summer. So. Oh
yeah, absolutely. I was talking to a buddy of mine today that we were talking about fishing and stuff because he always asks me when I see him around about going fishing and stuff while I'm catching. And he's like, he caught like the other week, a couple weeks ago, he caught a 30-pound channel cat out of our lake. Well, 2 nights before that, we were only 200 yards from that spot hunting them. I'm like, seriously, like we were sitting down for 5 hours in a spot, and we were only like 200 to 500 yards away from where he caught that 30-pounder.
Yeah.
I'm like, it kills me. I'm like, really? Come on.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's like I said, that's what I'm saying. Stuff starts moving around so much, you know.
Yep.
You know, one thing I noticed too, a lot of the creeks that I fish too are really rocky bottoms, and I don't know if this is correct or not, but they seem to stay cooler during the summer, and I don't know if it's just because that rock helps keep that water. Because I can go to the lakes and I'm like, this seems hot. Like this past weekend, like even when I got in the water, I was like, it's still cool feeling. Whereas if I go to the lake, it's like just tepid and hot feeling. So, but that's crazy. Yeah, it's summertime for me on lakes. Like I said, we do catfishing there, like especially right now. And say I've only been really actively catfishing rod and reel for just maybe a couple of years now. I just do so much better in the winter and the colder months for the catfish. Find them where they're schooled up and like I said, because now trying to figure out with the bands, I just don't have enough knowledge at it. I need to fish with more people that have a better understanding of it. So
and it's the same way with me, especially around here. I mean, it's unless you've got a boat around here, you ain't going to get on catfish very much because we don't have bank access like most people do.
Yeah. And that's we're kind of the same way. We've got some bank access, but once again, it's kind of limited, and with the limited availability of it, you're fighting the other fishermen that are already there. So and I don't want to sit there on a bank with 10 people side by side fishing. So
Oh yeah. Hey Becca. Hey Ethan. 351 Big Slim. Welcome guys. Make sure y'all share this out. Hit that thumbs up. Ethan, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe to mine and to FishSmack, man. He's got some good content out there from the creek. Some exciting videos that I've seen so far.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Trying. It's a work in progress. So.
Oh yeah, it is. I mean, like I think it was best said last night on Catfish Weekly. If you're getting on YouTube to become rich, you're in the wrong place.
Yeah, no,
you're not going to get rich on it. So it's a work, and it's work, especially if what you do is editing a lot. So I mean, you're putting videos out and you're editing a lot, and that's a lot of work.
Yeah, I would say right now, probably most of my videos this past weekend, like I said, the content was, sometimes I'll go out, film the content over the weekend, and then it's just a time that I'm sitting there looking back over the content. So if I've got 3 hours of content, I'm having to remember where, I was when I was saying certain things, and then I have to go through and try to put something together. If it wasn't something that I just had like an absolute idea that I'm going out to do this exact, video about, I do. I would say right now my editing is getting faster. The more that I do it, I keep pushing myself to learn, I want to keep learning new techniques because there's still so much, I want to do as far as the editing. But even right now, some of these videos I'm putting 3 and 5 hours probably of editing. By the time I also go out and try to find the music, I'll go through a lot of music selection, trying to find something.
Yeah. And we talked about what kind of music and stuff that you're using and what I was using and stuff like that. So
yeah.
Ethan, I didn't recognize the name on the channel there, bud. I appreciate you coming in. Ethan is actually my next door neighbor right across the street.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool that he's in here. Appreciate it, man. Hey, Ethan, you haven't seen it yet. Everybody else is in the chats right now. We do have the new merch shirts out, if you can see it. So hit me up if you want one. I'll give you the details later. There's some details in the description. Just email me or text me or just probably message me on Facebook, and I'll give you the details on the shirts. We've got them coming out, different colors. They're pretty sweet looking. It's got the chameleon style on the logo. We got stickers coming out here soon and towels coming out soon. So make sure you're looking for that. Let's get into it. Let's start talking about some tackle.
Let's do it.
What kind of rods do you normally look at using?
Fishing rods?
Yep.
So if I'm creek, like I said, I'm kind of a simple, stupid kind of guy when it comes to fishing. Up until really 7 years ago, when I really kind of wanted to put the nose to the grindstone and learn how to, become better at the craft. I had one fishing rod at the time. I mean, just had a little Shakespeare rod. It was probably like a 2000 series, and it was everything. It was my crappie rod, my catfish, bass, whatever. I have expanded out, of course, now. In the creeks, when I'm fishing creeks, I generally use smaller gear than probably, I don't know, maybe than most people do, especially like the bass fishing. I've got a 5.6 light set up. I've got another 5.6 ultralight. I started out this season on the ultralight thinking that was going to be my go-to rod. It was a Fenwick Eagle, and I was noticing I was missing a lot of hook sets because how limber that ultralight tip was. It was just too limber. When I go to set that hook, I don't do this, I'm just a flick of the wrist to set it.
Yeah.
And just that play it just wasn't enough. So I was missing it. So I went back to the light early on this season. And so that's what I generally fish on that. I've got let me think of my reels. Generally, my reels, I keep like 1,000 series. I don't generally go much bigger than that.
Yeah.
I do have some 2,000 series Daiwa Revos. And then I got this season, out of a whim, I just saw one. It was a Daiwa Strike Force, I believe. It was like $15. And I was like, I'm going to try. I was like, I love Daiwa stuff. And I've been using it all summer. And this whole thing is awesome. But that smaller setup for me works good because when I am hiking in these creeks, a lot of times I like to put some miles in the creek. Some of those areas I'm fishing regularly. I'm fishing sometimes about 2.5 miles in, sometimes as far as 4 miles in at most. But so then I'm trekking anywhere between 5 and 8 miles in a day. So that smaller setup, light. I want something light because I'm already packing my camera gear and water for the dogs and stuff.
Yeah.
That's generally I tend to that. I've got more Fenwick's kind of been my go-to rod here the last couple of years. I've purchased several Eagles. I've had a couple of the bass rods I've got. I had one of their world class. I actually broke that this season. I was out on my Grizzly and a wakeboard boat come by and waked me really bad, and I was trying to just keep the boat from getting sunk, and I stepped over and snapped it, and that was like a $400 rod at the time. I luckily had got it on sale for I think around $130 or something, but I won't ever be able to replace it again. But
no.
Only time I was using bigger rods.
Speaking of breaking rods and stuff, I mean, in my profession, I mean, we see a lot when I'm in the back of some of these stores, especially like Walmarts and stuff. You see how careless some of these people are with their rods and stuff. Broken tips, banging in the doors. I mean, it's ridiculous. People don't they don't make sure that they take care of their stuff.
Not aware. Yeah. I in 7 years, I broke one rod. I broke one rod tip myself, then other than the one that I fell on. But I'm always trying, like I said, I'm always trying to be spatially aware, like when I'm out watching limbs or whatever. But like I said, so unless I'm out on a lake, I really don't get into my bigger rods. I tell you, one of my go-to rods that I love for catfishing is the ugly stick. I've got a medium. Is it a medium or medium heavy? I think it's a medium heavy. No, it's a medium. I landed my personal best flathead, which was 40 pounds on that. It was 42 inches. I just love I love to let the rods do the work. So going that smaller, I see so many people just crank something in real fast. To me, the hearing that drag getting peeled out, that's the fun part to me. So I'll sit there and let them wear themselves down and let the rod do its thing. So that's why I tend to go lighter on most gear. So in the line on my creek pole, I was 4-pound test, but there's a lot of rock structure in a lot of these creeks I'm fishing. So I have gone to a 6-pound test on that. And since I've gone to that, I haven't had any that's broke me off on rocks. So
351, appreciate the donation, man. $5 donation from 351, appreciate that. Every little bit helps. So that just, like I said, guys, any donations is appreciated. It goes right back into the channel, helps buy gear and stuff. We'll get into that here in a little bit. Some of the gear that your all's donations has went back into.
If you ever see me mention Spartanburg, that's I nicknamed 351 Spartanburg. That's what I call it.
Bank Table's in here, and he called you Trigger.
Trigger Trey, yeah.
Yeah, Trigger Trey. He goes, what's up, Kelly and Trigger Trey? So appreciate that. Bank Table for coming in. Becca's in the house, Country Boy. Appreciate y'all sharing it out. Greenwheel Fishing is in the house. Appreciate you, man, coming in. And it's going to be a little bit different, like I said when we first started. We're going to talk more basically like creek fishing stuff. But, I mean, everybody, like I said, everybody that does catfishing, you are doing what we're doing. You're pan fishing for your bait. So you need to know kind of idea of what we use when we do all these creek fishing and stuff and panfish equipment. So
when we first got into catfishing, we were doing a lot of limb lines and jugs and mess, and I hated that part of it. The only part to me was fun was going out and catching the brim. We had to go out and catch maybe 30 brim and then go out and set our hooks, and that was the only enjoyment part to me. And then
you're just sitting back seeing me. I'd be doing all that. But then while I got the lines set, I'd be out there fishing for something else.
Got it. We'd set ours generally overnight. I think in Tennessee you can keep them out up to 24 hours. So we would just set them out at night and then come back early in the morning and check them. So
yeah, I'd say I'd be down the bank shooting for bass or something. So I'd be all the way until the next morning.
I wouldn't say that I wouldn't be doing that, because a lot of times we would if we got our fill of brim. I'd keep my other rod with me. A lot of times I'd cast a couple times when I could get a chance. So
what kind of, I know we were talking about the thing. I mean, we can go ahead and get into it and talk about, we were talking about the artificial bait and stuff. You were talking about that you really not got into it since just for a little bit now that you got into the plastics. But what were you using really before then?
Man, like I said, up until literally 7 years ago when I started, I would go out and get a pack of rooster tails. That's it. I would just fish rooster tails. I mean, I'd hit the creeks, and that would serve for my brim, my rock bass, sunfish. It would just work. I'd even use those trout fishing. I'd catch a lot of our brown trout, rainbows, and brooks every now and then on those. But that was just kind of like I said, I kept a really small wheelhouse. I just didn't go out with a ton of stuff. At the time, I didn't fish with a lot of people that didn't know it. So for me, it was just, I wasn't going to spend the money on stuff that I was uneducated on how to use and didn't know whether I wasn't going to spend the money on it just to see if it was, going to work out. I had told you, the crazy thing is really, I hadn't even used artificial plastics up until about 1.5 years ago. And the crazy story there I told you about, I was out on a lake. I'm always so peculiar about picking up trash. I hate trash at the boat ramps or on the creeks. I'm always taking a bag with me and cleaning stuff up. And we were on the lake, me and a buddy, one day, and I saw all this stuff floating on the water, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, someone has just gone down the lake and just cleaned their boat out, just throwing trash out. And I asked my buddy, I said, Chris, will you take me over there? Let me pick that mess up. I don't want it in the water. And he took me over. And when I got over there, I started looking, and it was bag after bag after bag of plastic. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, somebody has dropped a fishing bag out. So we started cleaning this stuff up. It ended up being like 15 bags of artificials. It was like a whopper plopper was floating on the surface. So we stayed there for a little bit to see if anybody come back. No one ever come back. And then we got in the boat ramp and to see if anybody there was saying anything about losing anything. Didn't see it. But so that's when I transitioned. I thought, well, I'm going to try these. I've never used it. So now it's like I don't have to invest the money. It was like it was at least $80 worth of stuff that I figured out. But so that's kind of when I transitioned into using that. And now I love them. Now I've invested into more. Now that I started fishing with them and learned how to use them. So
I like you showed them. I'm right there too. I mean, I've collected so many over the times.
Man, I've got a tub out back. It's just stacked. But once again, when I go to the creek, I'll take 2 bags. I generally take a copperhead color and like a bluegill color. Like I said, I still just get into my little set routine. If it works, I'm kind of like, if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. So I just. Oh yeah,
absolutely. I mean, we've talked about it many times in a lot of ours, especially Patriot James. James always talks about keep it simple.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But Chrissy Brown, appreciate you coming in here. Maurice, Hooks and Hammocks, Ernie Brown, appreciate you coming in here, sir. You and Chrissy are always a big supporter of mine. Mo Creek, what's up, Mo Creek?
It's right.
We got 11 people in the house now.
Nice.
And here's another one, Kentucky Crazy, crappie and cat angler. He's been doing really good. He's up here in my neck of the woods.
Nice.
So
I'm gonna get up there. We gotta plan up a trip. You're close. You're pretty close to me, aren't you?
Yeah, we're only a couple hours from each other, I think.
We gotta do some fishing, do some creek fishing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got tons of it up here. We got tons of creeks up here, so we can hit them. Yeah, and we can just walk them. A lot of them you can just walk. I've got one place I'm gonna try. They said right now it's about. I gotta figure out how to do it. They said it's about chest high right now.
Oh wow!
And I'm like, talking about trying to figure out how to creek fish that sucker.
That would be tough as far as filming. I mean, fishing, if you're just fishing, I could do it. But if it were trying to film and stuff, it'd be a little difficult. So,
yeah. I got to probably figure out, maybe do a one of those float rings or something. And just kind of float it.
That'll work. Yeah. Back on the so finishing up probably the rest of your question on my gear as far as in the creek fishing. If I'm if I were just going out strictly for panfish, trying to get our bait fish for our catfish, on that, once again, I keep that pretty simple. I like the I've got Mustad has just been my favorite hook to go to. I told you, I'll show you guys. This tub, I got 3 tubs of this. It's full of Mustad gear. I mean, you just name it. Mustad, a couple years ago, I don't know what they were doing. They were getting rid of a bunch of gear, and they were just doing clearance after clearance on this stuff. So I loaded up on a bunch of stuff. And but my go-to fish hooks that I use a lot of times for panfish is not this size, but it's the Carlisle hooks in the Mustad. I go with the number 12. That's a really small bend on it, so I mean it doesn't take much to get those brim hooked up. And I would use the I just like these little easy float trout bobbers.
Okay.
They're light and they don't make a lot of surface destruction when you're going in, when you're casting them in. And then I use micro split shot that you would normally use for like fly rods.
Okay.
So that's just my setup on those. They're a little more, like I said, a little cumbersome because you're putting on probably 3 of those micro split shot versus just one big split shot. But I just like the smaller profile of it. Casting in, I'm not disturbing the water. It's a lot quieter. And then, early season, I would have to say I don't use artificials if I'm going for the panfish because I don't seem to have as much luck on it. Like something like a Berkeley honeyworm. Yeah. Generally, early season, it seems like when the brim first push back to the banks, they're more finicky. Now, I might be wrong. That might just be me noticing that. I'd be curious if other people have noticed this. But now, once the water warms up, waxies like the is it Gulp waxies? I think they make, or the Berkeley honeyworms. That's all I'll go to. After that, once the summer gets here, I'm not spending the money on earthworms because they're going to overheat in the boat, and and then and I don't need it. Like I said, the panfish will wear out those little waxies or those honeyworms during the summer. So that's pretty much what I go for there. I don't really have to go much outside of that as far as if I'm just getting my bait fish, for catfish. So
let's see. Phillips in. Hey guys, the Cynthia Bullock one, that's my wife's channel, but that is my little girl that's on there, Sky. So she's in here saying hi to her daddy. she's up at her grandparents on the farm, so.
What do you tend to use when you're going get panfish if you're getting bait?
Well, I've been setting up a little bit on these right now, a little bit. Been doing those.
You used those the other day in your live, didn't you?
Yeah, I was doing really good. I've only used 1 and caught 5 on it, but that's them right there. So you just pull the little arms part here, and then you just I'm use a and I'll show them real quick. We were talking about the Ned rigs. Yeah, we're talking about those Ned rigs. So you can see it real well. It's got that corkscrew on it with a Ned rig head, and all you do is just take it and you just corkscrew the head. This part right here.
Yeah, creature bait.
Yeah, and you just corkscrew it right in there, and then right in the middle, you would put the hook through it.
Oh, nice.
Normally,
if I'm definitely using a Ned rig, it's going to have to be weedless for me. I stay hung up if it's not weedless with Ned rig, especially the rocky structures that I'm fishing around. So
mine was doing pretty good. Yeah, it was getting hung up every once in a while, but I mean, it wasn't much to where I could pop it loose and get it back in real quick. and it wouldn't hurt anything. But normally I'm using those, or I'll use. There's one I'm going to try to start using and see. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but sometimes I use something like those.
Oh yeah, yep.
I'll use something like those. But there's one now I found in all my stuff, and I don't know if I can get it up there and let you all see it enough or not. It just looks like a little fish with a hook on the back of it.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's just got its little tail. But I'm gonna try to use that in a little bit. It's got a little bit of a weight to it, so that might actually work a little bit.
You know, one thing I haven't done it in the past, but I had went out earlier this season and was trying to do fly fishing for smallies, and I'd actually like to try to go out. I've started, really that's when I was just practicing. That's why I'd go out to the boat ramp here somewhere where I have a good wide space that I could practice. But I was having a lot of luck on the fly rod, just little small dry flies and stuff.
Yeah.
Just casting up close to the ramps, and that was working really good. And I don't know if that would be functional if I were out, with someone else on a boat trying to, get bait fish or not.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on if the boat's big enough, like if it was like the other night, not this last Thursday, but I think it was the Thursday before last, we were out on the boat. I mean, our boat was big enough to where if you were on the front of it fly fishing, you were fine. You wouldn't have been in my way, and I'm on the back. I mean, as long as there's room, I think you would have been fine.
Yeah. But once again, it kind of goes back, like you said, keep things simple, stupid. It's like we can go out. I mean, there's some nights we can go out with those, to get our bait fish. A lot of times when we were setting those limb lines, we would go out and leave ourselves about an hour and a half of daylight. And generally within that amount of time, we would generally need 30 brim to set all our jugs and limb lines out. And we could get 30 fish, between the two of us and, an hour generally if we got on them. So. Oh,
yeah. We're usually, normally in the creek, if it's two of us, we're probably 14, 15 fish a night.
Yeah.
Together. So, I think the last time I was out with my buddy, I think I ended up with about like 9 that night. And I think he got like 10. So, we really, because it was one after another. As soon as we throw it in, like 2 seconds, we were on every time.
Yeah. I used to go out with some friends a lot, and we'd walk the creek together. I see a lot of those guys, Bobby and Greg, like puddle walkers and straight to the point where they're always fishing together. I can remember those days going out with some buddies here and doing that, but we would turn into a competition. It would be, you'd see a spot and you would hone in on it, and then like, I want to cast there before my buddy gets there. But yeah, that was fun. Now this past weekend, I don't know if it was the one creek I fish a lot. That creek pretty much only holds smallmouth and red eye. I have seen a few largemouth in there, but I was gonna say this past weekend, man, they're starting to get really finicky. I could tell the smallies were coming off a bed, but they would not have anything to do with any artificial that I threw them this weekend for whatever reason. I don't know why. So.
Raleigh Jones Vlogs, welcome to the show. Dr. Becky, welcome to the show. If y'all haven't subscribed yet, make sure y'all do that. Hit that thumbs up, share it out. We're just here talking about panfish bait, or rigs and stuff and tackle. Angel Hawk, appreciate you coming in. Some new faces, definitely a few new faces here. I haven't seen. Must be some people that follow you.
I don't know.
Yeah. I've never seen them in here before. So, but I appreciate you all coming in, checking us out. Make sure you check out FishSmack's channel. That's why he's here for us, for you all to jump in and check him out. Raleigh Jones says Becky makes fishing baits.
What now?
Raleigh Jones says that Dr. Becky makes fishing baits.
Oh, nice.
That's pretty cool. Definitely my email and stuff or information is in the description. email me and let me know what kind of stuff you do. And I can get you hooked up with the rest of the body, and we'll just get your stuff shared out, and people can look into your stuff, maybe buying it.
That's fun too. I early this season was trying to look at some different routes and just trying to save some money on some blank topwaters, and it was actually fulfilling to be able to take those blanks and paint them up and put your hooks on. I mean, you had that much time and effort into it, and then go out and actually land fish on it. It felt like it made it more special, that something that you actually made, even though a lot of just blanks, anyway. But it's still fun. It's a lot more fulfilling to put that much time and effort. I could even imagine, like, even the same thing going, like tying up flies or even the soft plastics that people pour. There's a lot of skill behind that. It's neat. I like that part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we had talked. Me and you talked quite a bit, but we were talking about the what is it? The grasshoppers.
Yeah.
That you were making.
Yeah.
So kind of give everybody in the channel kind of an idea of what you were doing with those, and what your idea about making them and changing them up, things.
The main thing was it was just more of an experiment. Like I said, with YouTube, that's the one thing I feel like my channel doesn't lack, is that I'm not providing some type of content that helps people. It's hard for me to go out. I'm not going to go out and act like I know how to do something, because, like I said, I've only been really actively trying to get better at fishing now for 7 years, which I've fished my whole life. But, at this point, I'm really trying to learn it. So it was just an idea that I'd come up with. I had seen a lot of different people painting up the blanks. So I had just ordered up some different varieties, whether they were whopper ploppers or spooks or the grasshoppers. And I was trying to kind of compare, and I've still got to finish some of those up. But it was just trying to see, could you actually save money? So I would compare them to something like a Rebel Cricket Popper. So those may run like $5.99. So the blanks that I was getting were like, if I can go through my head and remember, I think by the time, and none of the stuff that I did up front was airbrush. All I did on these was I've got just some hand paints and some paint pens just to try, if someone wanted to really save money and not have to do that big initial investment into the paints and the primers and all that stuff for the airbrush. But I was getting them down to where it was like 86 cents, I think, was the cheapest I could get them if you just did them like with a paint pen. Now, I did another variety with some different little jars of paint that were kind of metal flake, because I kind of liked that reflective look in it. And so when I added that into the price, I think it was about like $1.30 on the grasshoppers. So, but you think, I mean, if that's something you would use a lot of, the bad thing is, like I said, it's kind of like the Costco membership. I said in the video, it's like, do you need 5 gallons of mayonnaise, or do you just want, a handful of them? The trade-off is, I guess, I don't know. So that's kind of where the video was going when I was trying to do those, just to see, could you actually save money if you wanted to go that route? Like I said, of course, they're not going to be flashy and look as great as the real product. But if they're functional and save you some money, for some people, that might be the only option they have. So that was kind of the direction of the video.
Yeah, Dr. Frankenstein's in here. He said hello. He highly recommends the Ozark Trail and the XPS lures from Bass Pro Shops. The cheap and effective lures. And and they are. They are for people that are just trying to get out there and just get some cheaper. I'm not gonna say the cheapest, but cheaper, not too expensive lures. Then the Bass Pro, the XPS, those are always
a lot of times it could just be the technique. It doesn't have to be the most flashiest, most expensive. Like I said, I've said a lot of times it's like fish aren't normally seeing all these flashy colors in the wild, so that's marketing directed towards us to get us to buy, multiple varieties of that. So. And like I said, that was the one thing with me early on fishing. It was I had never spent really any more than probably $60 on any given rod up till 7 years ago. I didn't know the difference, but that was a hard commitment for me. And then when I started fishing with a buddy here locally that was really kind of took me under his wing and was training me, he taught me into getting my first Fenwick rod. And I think it was the first rod I spent like about $130 on. But man, when I purchased that rod, I could not get over the difference, the sensitivity stuff that I could feel. Because there'd be so many times I'd be like, "How are you feeling this?" So like, I can't tell if I'm hitting a lock or what it is. But man, when I went to those, actually started getting into some better equipment, and it was a game changer. But I do understand, man. And for me too, I don't like just fishing one species of fish. I get bored with stuff, so I like fishing a lot of different things. So I'm saying, so you're buying bass gear, you're buying crappie gear, you're buying catfish gear, and then on top of that, you're buying the rods and reels for each of those setups. So it gets expensive. So I definitely. I see where people can save money. It helps. So,
we got Cherokee Girl coming in. Raleigh, appreciate you sharing it out, getting some of your friends in here. Dr. Becky, if you want to, and I'll try them out. I'll even put them on a live show. If you want to send me something just to test out my waters to see if they'll work, my address is in the about page of my channel. And you're welcome to send me something if you want me to try it out in our creek here in Kentucky. So I mean, it's by all means you can send it to me or anything else, stickers, merchandise, anything you all want to send me. Just kind of I can shout you out on the channel. We appreciate all that. I know Avid is sending me a package. It should be here the next day or so. He's got me some hand-tied jigs I'm going to try out on the next live. If they get here tomorrow, they're definitely going to be used on Thursday on the next live.
Nice.
Yeah. So, trying to think of what else we can get into talking about. What kind of line do you usually use?
Line, I don't get. Once again, I don't. I guess that's probably the one area I'm. Probably don't go out and research a whole lot. What is the one I use the most? Is it Strike King? I guess it's Strike King is what I've got currently on most of my rods and reels. If it's my creek fishing, I fish mono. I don't like fluorocarbon. I've tried it before. I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's that much difference in the visibility of it. And
mine's the memory.
Well, and I agree there. Especially me using the 1000 series reel, that little tight spool.
Yeah.
I do hate the memory. So that's probably something I can learn from other people to say, hey, this is a route to go. I have had some. Is it suffix? Is that how you pronounce it? Like I said, I've had some of that. I thought that was really good. I've tried some Andes before. I thought that was good. I'm kind of a bargain hunter. I'll try something and to see if it works. And then outside of that, my creek poles, I do generally run mono on all my catfishing rods. Now, once again, I don't go heavy on it. I've got 30 and 17 pound Fireline that I use on my catfish rods. So yeah.
351 said he's gonna make a video soon on your janky hoppers.
I can't wait to see it.
Oh, that'll be awesome to see. Yeah, absolutely.
Keep me posted on that.
Yeah. Anybody's got? I know there's quite a bit of mods that are in here. Definitely show 351's link out for everybody to be watching for that one. We got Georgia Fisherman in the house, Dale Hayslip, Justin's Fishing Fish, Gabby's daddy. Gabby did awesome in the Muskrat Adventures kids tournament this last weekend, and she did really, really good. I was so proud of her. Definitely.
That's awesome.
We got Surf Ends. Elliot's in the house. Ricky's Fishing Adventure.
So what do you use on your line? You might can educate me on some of this. So
I mean, I've got like one of my rods I think had the siren on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's an old. I don't know if I can't remember if they still have it out in production or not. But I do have one that's like a 4-pound test. But I mean, mostly like especially catfish, I'm using Berkeley Big Game Mono, 20 or 30-pound test on those. For panfish, I'm normally using just the rod that I was using is the Lew's Hank Parker edition, signature edition, and it came with its own line on it. So I can't remember exactly what brand he actually uses for that rod, but I'm thinking it's about an 8-pound test. I think is what it is. So
I use Berkeley Big Game for my leaders. I've got that and like 60, I think 30, 40, and 60. I think I keep up. So
yeah. Justin says Gabby can reel in a turtle like a pro. Absolutely, she can. I think she got two. She got 2 turtles during that tournament. Yes. Chris, I've got Chris Uselton's in here. He's saying he uses the Power Pro braid and trilene.
Okay.
So.
And braid, and is that on for what style of fishing? I mean, would that be for creek fishing or just?
I don't know. I'm guessing probably catfishing. I would guess.
Got it.
But Matt from Wannabe Outdoors says that he's sorry for the loss of your dog.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Yeah, if you all haven't seen that yet, yeah, it's a good little video. It really is. Especially if you have a soft spot for a pet. It's always hard losing a pet. I mean, we've talked about it. I just went through the same thing with our almost 2-year-old dog, my little girl's dog, finding it dead the next morning. So I mean, it's hard.
It stinks. I had a little moment this afternoon. Work was kind of tough, and my wife was off today, and we got Sadie's remains back today. We had her cremated, and they made a footprint of her on the container, and it's I had to sit here and get choked up for a little bit, but she's in a better place. But it definitely, and I try to keep it in perspective. I mean, I always say God, people, pets. Because there's a lot of people out there struggling personally with stuff. So I never want to elevate a pet up to a person's level, but for us, we don't have kids, so the dogs do become. I mean, they're family. They are 100% family. And me, I work from home, so I'm around them 24/7. But I do appreciate that. Thank you guys so much. So,
Angel says that that's her dog's name too.
Sadie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good name.
Yeah. If y'all got questions for Trey, push them out. Any information on what you all use on panfish line or tackle, throw them up there in the comments, and we'll talk about it and just kind of go from there. Kentucky Crazy says he uses 10-pound braid for ultralight with a 4-pound leader.
Okay. And is that the braid cast easier? Is there a reason? Is there? And I guess too. Once again, it's one thing I do like about the braid. Like I said, you don't have the memory that you've got in that mono.
Yeah. Only problem with braid is like, especially in more like my waters or your waters too.
Yeah.
If you got rocks, braid is not good.
Oh yeah, the abrasion on that, it'll snap pretty easily. So yeah, that mono. I guess that's probably the reason I go with the mono. But once again, I guess that's where he's using the leader, to offset that. So once again, for me, I always size my gear down, and I think I'm doing it just because it's the challenge factor there. I want to see, can I land these big fish on that smaller tackle and fight them in. That past one that I caught this past weekend, it was a 19-inch smallie. I've got the video. I'll probably have it out next week, but I looked back at my camera and I had like 3.5 minutes on my camera, and I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna get this fish in before my battery dies, and I sure didn't. And it's like, I mean, so I was literally holding this fish, and I'm like trying to change a battery out, not lose him, so I could get the tail end of it. But that to me is fun, just fighting those, And I'm the same way with the catfish. I do, like I said, most of the catfish that I land, I don't use real heavy gear. I use a medium weight rod and with 17-pound test, but so I just have to really ease them up and let the drag do its job, and wear them down.
Yeah. There's a question for you. Ever try spider wire?
I have. When I first kind of got into it, I did use spider wire. Once again, I just didn't know enough about the stuff, and I walked into my local Walmart, and that's the one I started seeing a lot of, so I bought it. I think I've used 6-pound and 8-pound, and I think I even purchased some 12-pound. So, and once again, that was my, ignorance at the time, overbuying what I needed. I didn't need that much for the creeks, as the more I got into it and learned more about it, then I started scaling back on the pound of my line, but I have used it.
Yeah. I think there was another one in there. Let me see if I can find it here. Mark from Catfish and Crappies in. He says he never had a problem with braid. Yeah, I mean, if you're not like with us, like especially in the creeks, I mean, you're not really gonna have much of a problem, even with your catfishing and stuff. But I mean, it's just we're in so much heavy rock areas where we can easily get snagged.
I never realized how easy that the abrasion was on the braid until I really started, like I said, fishing around so much rock cover and stuff. So, but then, like I said, that's just kind of why I switched back to the mono. But I do love the braid as far as the castability of it.
Yeah.
It's just so much smoother. Like I said, no memory. You can't beat that. That's the part you can't beat with braid. But like I said, I guess I could try that with tying on the leaders. But once again, me keeping it simple, stupid. Generally when I'm tying my leaders on, I don't do any type of swivel. Most of the time when I'm connecting my leaders to my line, I'm doing a double uni. So which doesn't take too long, but once again, I'll put that double uni on, and then as I go through fishing a day, breaking off or whatever, then it's just taking the time to have to retie on another leader that way. So
yeah. So a lot of people are saying that I think the consensus says that the spider wire is just not that good.
It's not, yeah.
No,
I don't have any right now. Like I said, when I first got into it, like I said, I just went in and I was like, ooh, cool packaging. I like that. So I got it. So, like I said, for me, once again, it's more of I'm a bargain hunter looking for stuff. So I get on, and if I find some Strike King that looks, like a good price, I've tried a lot of different stuff. So the Strike King I like right now is I think what I've got on most of my rod and reel. But once again, I don't like the memory factor of it. So
Dr. Steam, he said that Dr. Frankenstein said that earlier he said that he didn't like the spider wire, but then he said the reason why is because it's always in stock. and that's the truth. And if you don't realize it, if you go to a Walmart or you go to a Bass Pro or you go to Cabela's or you go to any fishing tackle place, if you see a tackle that looks like it has been sitting there, especially line, that is so full that it's about to fall off, and you see other ones that are almost empty, most of the time it's because nobody likes using that.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Now, but if you look and see that there's 5 or 6 facings of a certain brand, and they're all been 2 or 3 been taken out of it, and they're 2 or 3 deep down, you can tell which ones are being used more, which people are liking more. But I mean, it's just like any of my other shows. We always try to say, if you're just getting into it and you don't want to put a whole lot of money into it, go cheap.
Yeah.
Don't go for the cheap stuff where it's bad. I mean, like the consensus say, spider wire is just the worst. I mean, you don't really want to use it. I mean, the prices.
You lose a big fish, though. I tell you, that's where, like I said, I need to do more research into probably the line for my creek poles. But most of the stuff I'm able to land on the 6-pound test. There's, The four is a little too light for me on creeks with these smallies. Even a drag just because of the rocks. So if you're working for the rocks, it probably wouldn't be that bad. But when I first started investing into the fire line, I think that stuff was like $29 for like less than 300 yards. And then I think the 30-pound test, I paid close to, it was over there, like $40. It was pretty pricey, but I invested into it after I had lost probably what would have been my PB flathead. Like I said, I've landed a 40 and I know that it was over a 40. And I had Strike King braid on, I think it was 20-pound test, and it snapped me off. And after that, I went home that night. I was like, I'm going to spend the money to get some good line. Now I've learned my lesson. It's like, I'm not going to lose another big fish like that because of me cutting cost on the fishing line.
Oh, Raleigh, no. We don't have a Discord server to connect behind the scenes or nothing like that. No. We do it through StreamYard, and then it goes straight to YouTube. But no, we don't have anything that does that behind the scenes or anything like that. So, Mark from Catfish and Crappie, he says the suffix 832 is worth the money.
Okay. I'm going to say that I've had some of that. I don't know if I've had that exact brand, but I've noticed their stuff is strong. I had some 4-pound on one time, and I just could not get over how strong it was when I would go to, especially when we were crappie fishing, trying to get, if I get hung up, I was having to put some strength into breaking that stuff. I was like, this is more than 4-pound, test. It seems like, but it was very durable.
Eric Burns, I appreciate you coming in. 351 says on his ultralight tackle, he uses 4-pound.
4-pound. Okay.
High vis. He uses high vis line.
I've got the only high vis I've got is on my dedicated crappie pole, and that's I use 4-pound on that and like a high vis. So I think most of the stuff I either generally go just a crystal clear or either that what is that, darker green? It comes in. I'm trying to think what they call that normally.
Yeah.
But that's what I fish with. So, and on that high vis, is that what is he using that for? Just a creek pole?
Probably bait. I say that he just uses that for his bait and stuff like that, probably. Or
okay. Now the one thing, and this once again, it's this is my ignorance, so I don't know. I do like the high vis as far as being able to see the strikes, especially the crappie. If you're just wanting to see that little subtle thump, a lot of times I'm in the creek with that clear line, it's hard for me to, see it. But I just didn't know which fish are line sensitive. I know they say crappie aren't line sensitive as far as colors, and I know it seems like brim and stuff generally aren't. I guess I don't know if smallies are. So I guess the only reason I've shied towards kind of a crystal clear on that, but it may not make any difference for them. So, but I don't know.
I mean, with my waters, I mean, which you saw through the show Thursday night, our waters are so clear. I try to use something that's a lot clearer. That way they don't get spooked too much, because if you watch it, they're swimming all around me. I mean, I was sitting there pointing them. I was pointing them at them and saying, about 2 feet from me goes a smallie. And there goes a rock bass. I mean, so in my area, definitely where it's so clear, you want to use something that's pretty much clear.
Yeah, that creek that I'm in, it is crystal clear. I mean, so it's starting to get a little murky. I noticed this past weekend it was starting to get a little murky. I don't know if we've just got algae starting to bloom, but that's in there. It is so crystal clear. That's one thing you're always having to watch with them, because I know they can see the stuff. I know they can even see me on the creek bed.
Let's see. Chris Houston has a question. I don't know if you can answer, but anybody else in the chat can answer it too. Can you put fly line dressing on mono to make it float?
I've never tried it.
No?
So the dressing, are you talking about the dressing that you put on your fly line?
Yeah, the fly line dressing. Yeah, I think that's what you meant.
I don't know. I'd be curious if you can. I don't know. I mean, because I always thought basically it was just a conditioner for that. Like I said, to keep that line supple, basically. I don't know if it's got it. Huh?
Avid says you can.
You can. It'll give it a buoyant factor.
That's interesting. I've never thought that. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for teaching me something. That's pretty neat.
Mark has a question for you. He says, Trey, have you tried a fluoro leader?
I have. I've got so like if I'm striper fishing and stuff, definitely with my mono, I do have 20-pound fluoro that I'll put on there, and that's generally enough to land those guys if I'm out in open water. I have. Once again, the only reason I shy away from doing it, like if I was on my creek pole, is just because I don't want to use a swivel, and it's just the time that it takes me to tie that double uni up, and I love the double uni. It's great, but it's just the time. It's just so much easier for me a lot of times, and and I guess it's not really needed in the creeks that I'm doing that, but I definitely use it out in the river for sure.
If Cherokee Girl is in here, appreciate the donation, $5 donation from her. Appreciate that. That definitely will go back into the channel for supplies, keeping everything up and running. But yeah, but I do appreciate that. Anything small like that helps out, so that definitely helps. Because that $5 will buy me another set of these, pretty much. Yeah. So I'm thrilled. So that way I can go back and I can get some more of these. Maybe some different styles, maybe of them.
Gas money.
Gas money. Do what?
Gas money.
Gas money. Yeah, because it does take a little bit to drive to some of these places.
The one spot I'm driving around about a 3-hour round trip most of the time. Oh, yeah. So I mean it's $30 fill up. So, but I love it.
Chris Houston has a question for you. He said that since you can use that fly line dressing on mono, would you try it when you're fishing the creeks?
Yeah. And basically, so the purpose you're wanting is to float? You're wanting it to float, right?
Yeah, wanted to float on the top of the wall. Yeah.
And so what would be the benefit of it floating?
I mean, but I would guess try to keep it up off the rocks a little bit.
But I'll try it, but I would be surprised if that conditioner made it that buoyant to, depending on.
Yeah.
I'll definitely try it. Like I said, I'm trying to think now. A lot of times I know, and tell me on this. This shows you my ignorance. Is it fluoro floats and mono sinks? Is that right? I was thinking that fluoro float.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I originally invested in fluoro, because I was doing a lot of trout fishing, so trout are definitely line sensitive. They can spot stuff. So, okay, water drag. Okay.
Yeah. And then Avid said right below it says to keep it snag free.
Okay. Okay. I'll try it. I mean, generally the way I'm fishing for these smallies, I'm casting out. Like I said, a lot of time I'm generally doing at least a slow retrieve constantly. So I'm not letting it sit out there any amount of time.
No. I mean, I'm not either because of the rocky areas that we're fishing or the grassy areas that we're fishing. We want to kind of keep it going without kind of getting snagged up, anyways.
Oh, and a lot of times too, for me, it's the smallies. It's like a lot of times it's like that subtle move. A lot of times here when I'm fishing for them, I'm casting out, I'll start retrieving, and I'm doing a lot of sight fishing, so I can spot them, and I'll just twitch it. And once I see them, get interested in it, then it's like a lot of times. Then I'll just start retrieving it, and they'll follow and bite it then. But I don't literally I'm not really casting out and letting it sit too much.
Yeah. Mark says if you need it to float, he said just use straight fluorocarbon. If you want it to float, just go ahead and just use straight.
And so the reason I shy away from the fluoro is because, especially in creeks too, the current, when it's floating, if I cast across the stream, then I've got current in the center that's pulling. What it's doing, it's pulling my line. Yeah. So, which I know still you're going to have some of that with the mono too, with it sinking down. But I think that's why if I can recall, when I did get the fluoro, I was doing a lot of pan fishing. I didn't like it sitting on the surface for some reason. There was something I can't remember what it was. I just didn't like about it. And I think it was because wind was pushing it, I think. Mm-hmm. Am I right? And have people comment on that.
Yeah. Mark says you're exactly.
Huh?
Mark says exactly.
Okay. Yeah. That's why I shied away from it, because I could remember I cast under, and then if it was a windy day, that wind would start drawing it out. I'm like, well, that it's like So I didn't fish with the fluoro too long. I went back to mono. But once again, I do like the fluoro leaders, like especially when I'm going for bigger fish. So.
Yeah. Anybody else got any questions? I appreciate it. These questions have been on fire today. We got 21 people in the house. We've been keeping around 20 to 23 people always in the show.
Yeah. Thank you guys for your time. I definitely appreciate it.
Appreciate y'all coming in, carrying it out. I think you were at about 150 something subscribers for the show.
Just 150, yes, sir.
Yeah. If one of my mods can find out and post up what he's at now, I'm guaranteed we're probably up there pretty higher now. There's a few of them that probably definitely subscribe now that hasn't seen you before or hasn't subscribed to you before.
It's a turtle race, so it's just slow to the finish. So
I figured you had more than I would. You got more stuff than I do. More content.
That's the thing. I don't provide content. The only content I'm providing is just me being a knucklehead. So I'm not good at being a knucklehead sometimes. So.
Hey, there's one out there right now that's what is it? He was just on Palmetto's Kevin's show, Clarence.
I
mean, he's just a goofball, and I like him to death. Me and Clarence get along real well. He's just a goof, but he's got such a following behind him.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's your reaction to it. It says you got 152 now. Nice. You gained a couple now. So hey,
nice.
If you haven't hooked him up, guys, you definitely got to get over there. Especially, it's some good content. Like you said, he's kind of a knucklehead, but hey, it's that creek fishing that he does is top notch to me.
Yeah. I
mean, that's what made me. If y'all didn't see my show on Thursday night, that's what made me get out and do a live show. It was him. It was Trey here that made me do it. Especially actually doing the live from the creek.
That would be tough. That would be. That's the thing is, like, I can get out with myself in the woods, and a lot of times it's easier for me to do stuff. I probably film by myself when I'm out, because I know a lot of times I had done some filming with a guy locally here, and I didn't talk as much or didn't say things, but I do like the collaboration with other people too, because there may be days that I go out where I just don't have a lot to say, and it's someone saying something that then it kind of sparks that conversation. I think that'll help a lot, but I say come into the channel with low expectations, you won't be let down. So it's a process though. Have you noticed? I'll tell you what, and I don't know why this is happening. Even I'm tiny, but I'm noticing that even comments of mine are getting deleted on YouTube. Like I even know 351 Cleveland. We were talking. I messaged him the other day. He had responded on one of my last videos, and I responded, and I went back shortly thereafter just to see if he had responded back, and I noticed my comment was deleted. And then and he's saying the same thing, like he's not getting the notifications anymore.
Yeah, it's usually YouTube's just been weird. I mean, talking about on Mark's Catfish and Crappie, he was talking to Dieter. Dieter's comments on his videos are turned off.
Yeah, I saw where he said, I saw that last night. We're talking about the comments and stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, that's ridiculous because it's like, I'm like, yeah, he's already monetized. He's already got all his stuff, everything. But if somebody that wanted just to comment on that video, saying, hey, I love that video or whatever, they could do it. But they just want to, like Chrissy says, YouTube just being difficult.
And that's the thing that frustrates me. It's like, hey, we're putting the content out there for you to make your advertisement money. And then the one thing that I don't want you to do is disconnect me from anybody that I want to stay connected with through the channel. I want to talk to these people. I mean, this channel is nothing without everybody here that's watching, that subscribes. And I feel it's an obligation, and I want that one-on-one conversation. That's what I love about the aspect of YouTube. But for them to start, removing comments and stuff, and disconnecting people, it's kind of like to me it's frustrating. I'm curious if a lot of people starting out today, do you think the people that started out 5 or 6 years ago would have had it easier than someone starting out today building a channel, or is it it's just time?
I think we had this conversation before with Lyle and Mark and all them and Chad. I think if you were trying to start one today, it's going to be harder.
Yeah.
Now, if you started one kind of like what we did, or some of us did, well, I started mine at the first of the year, basically. But at that time, country was still pretty much shut down 100%. So everybody was online. Everybody was doing things through the internet. So I think it was easier to do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's but now if you try to do it now, I think it's going to be a lot more harder work now to get back up to where we're at now.
Yeah, I know when I was on with Panfish Nation with Mark and Lyle, I know they had asked me, I think Mark had asked me where I wanted the channel to be in a year. And it's like, August will be a year for me uploading and editing. And it's like, and I feel like it's just, and I don't know, I feel like it's a slow growth, but I'm tickled with where I am. But I would even, as slow as it's been to this point, I would say I don't see myself being at 1,000 in a year. Personally,
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty much in the same boat when it comes to my channel. I'm 200 and something right now, but I mean, to me, I'm not in here to get up there to I'm going to be the top channel of YouTube or whatever. I'm not pushing for it. I'm just.
Yeah,
I got into it because of my brother. My brother, if most of y'all don't know, my brother is Timmy from Chesapeake Bay Catfishing. Awesome guy, awesome lives. Him and Mama Chu, his wife, my sister-in-law, they're to a hoot. Especially when it comes to cold nights where she sets a big bonfire and about sets him on fire. But it's just, I mean, it's some fun. But he got me into doing the YouTube thing. I was just fishing in the creeks. I didn't care less about filming. I didn't think about filming what I was doing ever.
Yeah.
And I've been fishing creeks my entire life.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, getting into it and getting out there and doing the catfishing thing, and now kind of finding my niche on the creek fishing a little bit more and more now. So.
And it's the same thing. Like I said, it even told Mark and Lyle and them that I don't really know I'm still struggling to kind of figure out the direction of the channel, what I want from it. Now, I would be disingenuous to say it would be nice if at some point the channel could be, make some money to where it could help finance even trips or, things like that. Yeah. Whether it does or doesn't, I'm still going to be going to do what I do normally anyway. So, but like I said, it just mine isn't, like I said, to be some big status or anything. It's just, like I said, to me, it was fun to I enjoy the fishing. And then I thought with the editing part of it and having like I said, well, even kind of like Dieter said last night, just having that timeline, that was recorded there to go back and see. So I like that, that part of it I think was cool. So.
Yeah, Mark, I mean, yeah, making money is awesome. But, I mean, it's like, I know I'm never going to make it rich on here. I mean, I'm still going to have a day job and everything else.
I know.
I would love to make money. Really would.
If I could get it to a point just to where I could just make my bills and just live on a shoestring budget, if I could trade that for the stress that I go through, I mean, as soon as we're done here, I've got to punch back in and work more tonight. Yeah. Getting arguments with borrowers on homes. I mean, it's just that part I hate. So for me, when I saw, I think John from Creek Fishing Adventures, I saw his growth and one of his videos he did talking about what he made. And I think he was at 75,000 subscribers. I think he said in that year he made like 55,000 with everything. And I was like, man, well, that would be a targeted goal for me. Now that seems like almost insurmountable just to try to figure out if I could even. I don't even say myself.
My thing on that is how much content is he having to put out, because he's gonna have to keep on putting content. I'd say he's putting content out crazy.
Yeah.
Keep up with it.
I noticed today, I think he had gotten into where he did about 1 or 2 a week, but I noticed this week he's uploaded about 4 videos. So,
I mean, it's a lot of work.
Like you said, if that was my day job and if I had to upload 3 videos a week and trade off for what I'm doing now, I would do it in a heartbeat. Even if I had to live on a shoestring budget, I don't care.
Yeah.
It just, for me, it's a trade-off of the stress that I have to deal with. So, I mean, I will say that's kind of one of the things I think I kind of found appealing. It's like, man, if I could do something I love and enjoy and connect with people, that part is great, and then actually make a small living off of it, that would be, awesome. But that's a pipe dream right now. At this point, I'm just going to just keep working on the craft and having fun. And
where was it? I think Chris Uselton said something about. I mean, we talked about it before when we first started. The channel name change.
Oh yeah.
If you want to let them know kind of what you thought about was going to be the change, or is going to be the change, definitely.
It's not. That was more me picking too. I actually I do have the channel set up. It's the Redundant Fisherman, and once again, that's me being a knucklehead. When I went out last week, the footage that I just uploaded from that video was the weekend that Sadie had passed away. So I was kind of more out in the creek, just reflecting and just kind of celebrating, her life, and just, kind of getting my bearings back together, and I guess kind of grieving some out there. So once again, I went out there with no direction or anything scripted. That kind of what I wanted to do that day. Yeah. And I kind of got out there and I was just thinking, I was like, well, I'm doing the same redundant thing. So I thought, well, maybe people will think it's humorous if I just say I'm just going to become the redundant fisherman, So that's kind of what spawned the idea for that video. But I did go ahead and set the channel up just in case, I end up doing something with it. So it may end up just being the redundant creek fishing aspect. But I've got too much time putting in FishSmack. I definitely wouldn't want to, get away from that. So,
kind of getting back into the tackle stuff a little bit more, because we kind of got it off the subject.
Yeah.
But we got great content in what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
What is something you're looking in the future on tackle wise?
For panfish?
Or anything. Catfish, panfish, like tackle wise, what are you looking to get down the road, purchase, or get into? Because I mean, you were doing your own bait there you're still doing your bait for a little bit, but what are you?
Yeah,
what are you
some of the stuff that I've purchased here recently, I haven't used. I bought some of the actual whopper ploppers, and then I bought some of the hidden topwater spooks, and I wanted to buy those because I wanted to literally compare apples to apples to these blanks that I was purchasing. Yeah. The rattles and stuff in them, I noticed those were a tad different. So the buoyancy of them, Really, I guess that's some of it. That's some of the stuff I've invested in here recently, but haven't really put the effort into fishing it. I've noticed that I was going to try to do one of the whopper plopper videos out at the creek that I've been fishing, and I've just noticed out there. I don't know if it's because it's so clear, but every time I cast that thing out, I scare the fish. They just scatter and spook, and they do not come back to it. So I've kind of put that aside for the moment. Maybe if I go fish some darker water, something that's not as clear. So, what is it?
It says, in your opinion, what is the most overrated bait for creeks and small rivers, and the most underrated? In your opinion, because like you talked about, because you're only using what little bit you've been using. So, but what you've noticed and heard, what is your overrated and underrated?
For me, I'm a simpleton, so everybody keep that in mind. I'm simple, stupid. I catch everything pretty much at the creeks on a Texas rig finesse worm. This 4-inch. This is my go-to right here. It's just a 4-inch finesse worm bluegill. I've got a couple different colors of it. To me, this works awesome. And a Texas rig, I don't lose it. It's very durable. I like the pliability of it. To me, that's kind of my go-to. Overrated stuff, and just this would be in my opinion. I don't need all the top water, the whopper ploppers. I don't need all that stuff, and I don't like that. And I don't like fishing with that stuff personally. I don't like the double treble hooks on most of the stuff that I do fish. If it's double treble hook, I'll take the belly hook off, because I'm like you. I'm kind of a big advocate of CPR. If I'm out there catching the fish, like the bass I just caught this past weekend, 19 inches, that fish, I think if I looked on a chart, that fish is over 8 years old. If I gut hook that thing or put its eye out because I've got, 2 sets of trebles when I don't need it, when I can just catch it on a Texas rig, and even too, like my bass hooks. I've got generally what I'm fishing with on my bass hooks are like 2s, 1s, 1/0s, and 2/0s, and I don't even get up in the 1/0s and 2/0s. Generally, I'll fish with like just this little number 1. Yeah, and I land the fish on it. The one thing I do like about it, and once again, this is, I guess, the challenge for me, is that smaller gauge hook is a lot easier to hook set. I'm not having to just wrench these fish to get them set up. So I guess that would be my answer. Would be underrated for me would just be just a small soft plastic, and then overrated would be all the top water stuff. But not that it doesn't work, because I see people catching it all the time. I just don't like it. 2, with me hiking in a lot of times, those fish are thrashing around. I can't grab them really fast, so I don't take a net with me because it's just one more thing I'm having to carry. So I want to be able to grab that fish pretty quick, make sure it's not injuring itself, thrashing around the banks. And I can't do that if they've got, 2 trebles sitting there, because I don't want to hook myself and be, 2 miles back a creek or 3 miles, whatever. And then,
absolutely.
So I hope
that
answers the question.
Something like this. This is what I use.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just this little small jig head.
Yeah. So I hope that was the answer, but
I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah. We've got Thomas LaPage, Laughing Cats Fishing. We got Lee Evans is in here, straight to the point. Appreciate y'all coming in here. Fins and Fowls in here. So we got a few of them just dropping in here. We got 23 people in the house now.
Nice.
Appreciate y'all coming in. Make sure you still share this out. We still got quite a bit to talk about. When you're talking, I know we talked a little bit about topwater stuff. What is some of your topwater stuff you like using?
Like I said, I'll let me see.
We'll kind of share each other's tackle there.
When it comes to stuff, I don't put a lot of money into it. I don't know. I'll see if you can see this. All these, I go out and clean trees up all the time. And everything that I've got in this is for me cleaning trees up. I'll go out and if it's a rainy day or it's crappy, I'll just take the kayak out and go clean trees up because I hate to see wildlife snared in a hook or stuff. I've seen that too much. But, once again, I keep it pretty simple. This year is the first time I've ever used a whopper plopper, and it's not that I don't like it. I like using it, but it's just I just keep my wheelhouse so narrow that I just don't generally fish a lot of those. So, I do have, like I said, the top water spooks. I've got I've ordered. I have a bunch last year that I got, like the frogs. I want to take those out and try to fish some of the grassy patches, but once again, a lot of the creeks that I'm fishing in, they don't have a lot of vegetation in. The ones I'm fishing, I know there's other out there that I need to go out and explore. But like some of the areas where I'd like to use a lot of that top water would be on the lake. So right now I'm not on the lake. So I guess that's just why I just shy away from it because I'm not going to be out there. So by the time summer ends, that'll be the time that I'll start ramping up to go out and start catfishing.
Yeah. Here's a suggestion from Dr. Frankenstein. It says try a Hedon Tiny Torpedo.
Okay. How is that the one that's like? Is that the one that's 4 inch? About 4 inch? Do you know?
He would have to enter.
I've seen it. I think it's like the smaller. I think it's like close to 4 inches. Because I was trying to find some blanks of those, and I couldn't find the blanks at an affordable price.
Yeah, a lot of my top water stuff that I like to use is a lot of these.
Yeah.
So I use a lot of those with the treble hooks and stuff on them.
Will you use that in the creek or the lake?
It depends. If the creek is high enough, like we talked about earlier about the creek being up there to my chest. Yeah. That one, I actually might use that in that creek. Now, the creek that I was fishing in Thursday, no, I wouldn't because we're only maybe a foot tall or less. Mm-hmm. So I'd rather use something a little bit more finesse.
Yeah. I think that's why. I think that's why I tend to shy so much to just a lot of Texas rigs on stuff because in the creeks. So like the one creek I'm fishing the most, I think in like a 2.5 mile stretch, there might be like 12 really good honey holes there. And I just don't want to take the chance of casting out. And then I'm snagged up on my first cast and I'm like, okay, I'm not leaving that gear out there. I'm going to go out and get it. So it's like, okay, I'm going to ruin this spot for a while. So it's just, it's better for me to just fish something that's weedless. And it works. Like I said, if I was going out there and wasn't catching, now like this past weekend, I was having a hard time getting to hit anything, and I think it's because a lot of them were coming off a bed. The smallies were, so I had to end up switching up to. I tried live baits, and when I started trying live baits, they were absolutely nailing them. But so that was really the only change that I did that day. And then once I found something they wanted to hit, then I stayed right there. So
yeah.
Thank you for that recommendation. I do like those hidden spooks. I do like them. So.
He said they come in a lot of sizes. The smallest is 4 inch.
Okay. I was thinking it was close to 4. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I like that. Do you think? So let me ask you this. Once again, I don't. Do you think you'll lose the hookup ratio by taking that belly hook off of those and just fish the tail hook? Because I just don't like multiple trebles.
No. If I did it in the creek, I would probably definitely take off the belly.
Okay.
Now, if I'm fishing the lake, I probably would keep it.
Really?
I would, because where they're coming off this is the top water and they're coming off of that top, they might
hit the mouth.
That first one coming up, because a lot of them want to hit that mouth. They want the bait to go head first in, so they're going to come up the front. if they miss that one, they're going to get that back one.
Got it.
And see what I use one of these to get that hook out.
Yeah.
So I know for a fact I'm not hooking myself into it.
Got it.
So
when I was testing out those hoppers that I had painted up, I was only fishing the tail hook on those, and I noticed that day I wasn't missing fish. So but once again, you're talking that hopper was what 2.5, 3 inches. It's shorter. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, some of mine are a little longer. I mean, most of mine are about all the same size. The bill on the front is a little bit different, a little bit bigger, a little smaller.
But, if 350, I'd be curious if when he tries those hoppers out, because the ones I sent him, I only had the tail hooks on. I'd be curious if he felt like he missed fish on those or had a decent ratio with that single hook.
Yeah. Do you ever use any spinner baits or anything?
I don't. I don't use chatter baits, spinner baits, and not to say that, like I said, if I fished around people that would teach me with them, that's the thing. I'm fishing with what I know as far as knowledge. And so if I'm not, when I'm going out by myself, a lot of times I'm not just going to go out and spend money on trying something else if I'm already landing fish with what I'm fishing with. So, but I don't go fish. I'm not fishing lakes in the summer where I would think that's where you're going to really start needing a lot of that stuff,
Straight to the point says he's still waiting on his janky hoppers. Said, where are they? LOL.
Uh-oh. Calling me out.
I got to get a trip
up there. We've got I'm definitely going to get a trip up there with him and Greg. I need to get it here soon. I'll have to paint them up. I'll take them with me. Hand deliver those things.
There you go. I wonder if they'd be good up in my area or not. I don't know.
I would think so. Once again, the action on them, to me, it just mimics almost like the way a crawdad swims, know. So once again, that's where I was just thinking. I was like, all these colors and stuff to me, just in my rationale, I was thinking it doesn't work. It's more of just that fish is seeing something mimicking, something it's used to targeting. And it's just, it's higher up on the food chain, so it's going to, eat it.
Matt from Wannabe says, do you use Ned Rig Helgermites ever?
I use Helgermites, but I do not use them on a Ned Rig. Once again, because I'm getting hung up so much. And I don't know if other people do this. I Texas rig them. That's the way I set them up. And I have a good hookup on them. The Helgermites, what have I got? The ones I've got are 3.5 inches, I think. So, and I'll just use a smaller, like number 1 bass hook on them to Texas rig them. But that's how I fish them. I know John from Creek Fishing Adventures uses a lot, and he'll use a jig head on them. But I just stay hung up so much. So that's the only reason I shy away from setting that up, Ned. Unless I invested and got some weedless set up, kind of like the ones you were showing me earlier. And
for the ones that haven't seen it yet, I'll pop it up now that I got my little little hook thing here. I can get my hook stuff out. I can grab it easier with it and kind of show it better.
Could you set that up? Could you set a Helgermite up on that, I guess?
I'd say you probably could.
Yeah.
But you can see that it's just a regular Ned rig, but it's got that corkscrew in it.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of mine are able to, I can screw my bait into it and then shove the hook through the middle of it. So it works fine. If you want to see the action on these,
I do love the Helgermites, though. I think that.
And compare it with that, and then put it with that, or any of the Guggen baits. They were on fire. I mean, because they just look like little crawdad kind of fish style.
Let me see. I'm going to find real quick the Helgermites. I found a guy was in Alabama, he had a small company. A lot of times I'll support a lot of these smaller companies.
Yeah, and that's what we try to do too. We try to push all these smaller companies, definitely.
Yeah, and he's got like boutique. What I don't know what you'd call it, craft.
Yeah.
Let me see. Well, really, that's the bad thing. My bag is so full of. I need to kind of skinny it down. No, I can't find them at the moment. So
appreciate y'all still being in here. We got 15 wonderful people still in here. We've been on for about an hour and a half now, so appreciate you all.
Yeah. And who was it had the question on the Helgramites? Was that?
That was Matt. Matt from Wannabe Outdoors.
Yeah. Does he, Matt? Do you set those up? Ned rig? Do you fish them that way? I'd be curious.
Yeah, I would be too on that.
Yeah.
Chris Houston, all right on that. Chris Houston says the fish see up and to the side, mostly on the top of the lures, is designed to attract the fishermen. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. He says, I do use them that way.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, he does use them that way.
And did he fish in rocky structure? Possibly, like I said, that just.
I'd say possibly, yeah.
Yeah. And I just, like I said, unless I just went with something lighter, I guess the thing that that one stream that I fished has some pretty decent current. So if I can't fish anything really, really light, something like 32 ounce or something is too light.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna get flushed down the stream.
He says mainly around rocks and boulders.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I need somebody to teach me how to fish with them. Maybe it's user error, and I don't doubt that. So
there's our buddy there. There's Lyle coming in.
There's Lyle.
Yep, there's Mr. Lyle. Appreciate you coming in here, sir. Yeah, we're sitting here talking about all kinds of lures and stuff. That's a man up there that makes some good hand-tied jigs.
Really?
Yes. Yep, Mr. Lyle does. He's got some good ones. And apparently that package that Avid's sending me has a few of Lyle's stuff in it.
Oh, nice.
Jigs in it, so that'd be awesome. Can't wait to get them and get them on the creek, definitely.
What are the jigs for specifically? Are they?
Crappie, panfish, basically.
I would like to try some different. That's my crappie. I pretty much always use crappie. Was it Crappie Pro? I've got these and like all the colors. I generally get like 1/32, 1/24, 16th, and 18th. And I get them in all their, whether it's chartreuse, orange, blue, pink. And then a lot of times I'm just throwing those Bobby Garland, what are those? Baby shad. So,
okay, yeah.
I haven't really thrown any type of, I've been curious. Now, that's one thing I was interested in trying to use a fly rod with some of those, different flies to see how the crappie would react on those, especially when they're in that mode where they just want a really slow fall.
Yeah,
I figured a light tackle like that might work pretty good on them.
I don't know if you've seen him. A lot of the guys from the UK have been coming over, and one I got hooked up with is the Blind Angler. He actually does fly fishing.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and
fly fishing for crappie.
Well, it's crappie.
Fly fishing in general.
Just fly fishing in general. But the cool thing is that he actually is blind.
Wow.
He's blind, and he does fly fishing. So, that's a lot of technique that he's doing and not being able to
not be able to see it. It's all in feel. Yeah.
It's all in feel.
Ocean. Yeah. It definitely muscle memory once you get back.
But yeah, it's been interesting watching him do some of that stuff. It's just
I'll have to check that out. That's awesome.
But it's his channel is the Blind Angler.
I like that. I like that too because he's determined to get out and fish. That's really cool.
Chris, on the circle hook size that you should buy, it depends. Most of us are using 6, 8/0. Unless it depends on your area of fishing too. If some people use 10, but they're going after these monster fish. But I mean, if you're, yeah, he's wanting to know what size circle hook he should buy just getting into it.
That's my brim. That's the ones I use for my brim.
Yeah.
No, I'm lying. Yeah, I got some of those. I was fishing sharks. I went out and fished for some black tips.
Oh, there you go.
Year before last out in Hilton Head, I ended up, I think, catching 6. So it was fun.
Hey, that's cool. Yeah, I got a buddy of mine that was just on the show. He got into doing a guide thing with sharks.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. Kevin was
about that last night too, right?
Huh?
Dieter was talking about that last night on Mark's channel. Yeah,
he's going to do a little bit like that. But I got a buddy of mine. It's Kevin from the Adventures of the Catterman. Was on the show a couple weeks ago. He's actually official now up in New Jersey area, doing sharkfish like guide tours.
That's
and stuff
awesome.
up in that area. So it's going to been pretty cool.
That'll be fun. It's I was talking to Eric from Back to the Table the other day, and he and I both have a fish in common we want to catch, and that's the Goliath grouper. I want so bad to go fish for those. So
yeah, that's probably one of the fish that's on my bucket list. Definitely.
Oh yeah.
I want to get a hold of a 800-pound grouper or something like that.
Oh, that or get to go fish for some big sturgeon like Canada.
Oh, yeah.
I went out to Portland about 4 years ago. First time I'd gone salmon fishing, and we were fishing for Chinooks. And I went and fished the spring Chinook, which I didn't realize are less numbers. The fall Chinooks are more prevalent. So so I thought we were just going to go out there and slay it that day. I only ended up catching one the entire day, but you were fighting the sea lions off of them and everything else. Yeah. But I did see one guy hook up pretty good sturgeon out there.
Oh, yeah. Let's see what we got. I agree with you, Elliot. Surfing's that the 4-aught would work great for channels. Yeah, because Chris Houston said he bought 1-aughts, 2-aughts, 3, and 4 circle hooks. Yeah, I mean 4 is going to work perfectly fine for channel cats. If you want to get into, if you got bigger ones, if you think you got bigger blues or stuff like that, I'd probably go up to like a 6 maybe. Or maybe into an 8, but yeah, I'd go for the 4 all the time. I
think that's 4. That's a 4 must-add circle hook. So yeah.
And you can, I mean, we've talked about cheap. I've told them to go after the Team Catfish ones at Walmart. I mean, if you're not going to be putting if you don't know if it's what you want to do and you just want to get kind of tested out, go for the cheaper ones, so that way you're not putting too much money. I mean, Team Catfish has got some good circle hooks. I'm using those. That's what I use, and they're good. They're sharp. You don't want one of those to get a hold of you.
I've told you keep an eye out. Mustad. I don't know if they're doing it as much now, but Mustad there for a while, man. They were just doing some really good clearance items. You know. I think I even told you what was it? These catfish hooks.
Yeah.
Those, I think if you go on, and that's like, what is it? 4X strong beak hooks. This is a 10-aught. Like that pack, I think on a Bass Pro is like, I want to say it's like $15 or $16. And they ran a special on these. I was getting these for like less than 50 cents for this entire pack. I think I bought about 60 packs of these because it was so cheap. I was like, I'll pass them on to someone else or do giveaways, or if someone needs gear that doesn't have it. But they, so I just got in the habit of watching their stuff. There for a while, they were just having some incredible clearances. You know, it's got to be something that you need. But the only downside is you would have to, if you wanted free shipping, which that made it worth it, was you had to spend $50.
Oh yeah. We got D in the house. What's going on, D? I always want to make sure I say hello to you. Elliot says that and I know he does, he uses the 10-aught on big bluegill for flatheads.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll put especially if it's flathead. If we're going flathead fishing, yeah. We're putting those big 10-aughts on there for them because we're putting pretty much hand size bluegill.
Do you hook them through the back or through the mouth?
Yeah, right on top of the back. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, right on top of the back and let them just sit there and they can swim around.
Yeah. That's awesome. Do you ever, with catfishing, do you ever cast net?
I don't.
You don't?
Mm-mm.
We
just do a bobber with hook and worms to get our bait is what we do.
Got it.
Yeah.
We got in the habit last year. We were having here, and that just could be our body of water. We seem to have better success on the gizzard shad. So
Yeah.
I love cast netting, so we'd go out and, especially in the afternoon, you'd see them on top of the surface flicking, and we could, every now and then get a good cast and get you 10 or 15 of them in a net. So, the ones that are like 6 to 8 inches, is what we're looking for. But
Dee's a fan of your channel. She says she loves your channel.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I hope I don't let you guys down. You get pressured to always keep putting out content, and you feel like you're letting people down. So
yeah, keep on doing what you're doing.
I appreciate it.
I enjoy watching it. So,
well,
but I'm just like you. I'm just a creek fisher. So
yeah.
we're something like that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. Thank you.
Yeah. There's Roger from Muskrat Adventures. Appreciate you coming in, dude. You put on some awesome tournaments with these kids, and it's been excellent to watch. So, but yeah, he's got his show coming up in about 17 minutes. Okay. They're going to do some chats with, I think I just popped it up. It says, I think he's doing the rewards for the Kids Day tournament, Kids Fishing Tournament. They're going to do the rewards and talk about all that stuff. So definitely need to jump over there and watch him. Check that out and give some praises to some of these kids that are getting out there. A few of them that's caught their first catfish this weekend, and it was awesome to watch that. It's always fun to get our next generation into fishing just like us and let them enjoy something that we like doing. So,
yep.
I'm still trying to get my little one into doing it. She's wanting to go out fishing, but right now I've got to keep her away from the camera. So if I go fishing with her, she's got to go. There's no cameras allowed, no video in it. So
because you can't have children on your channel, right?
You can. I'll have to adjust the stuff on it, the settings. But we can have the kids on there. But me and my wife, we try to keep our child off as much as we can, off of Facebook, off of the YouTube thing. I know she was in here under my wife's name saying hello to everybody, but she's not allowed to have her own channel or nothing like that. So
you got to watch it today. It's too many predators proud,
and that's the reason why. And that's the reason why. It's like Mark from Catfish and Crappie said that some of the comments, the reason why his comments got turned off was actually because he had some of his kids on the videos, and people were commenting there's bad things on things, so they had to shut the comments down.
Well, I noticed somebody was commenting something on Mark's show last night. I know it got deleted really fast. I was reading it as it was getting deleted. I got about the first two.
Yeah, me and Dieter's been talking about that all morning. We've been texting back and forth all morning about that. It's hilarious. He's got somebody that just kind of trolls him quite a bit.
Got it.
That's the reason why. That's the reason why. If you've seen in the show, he put that sign up. It says rent free,
living rent free. Yeah.
And see, what I did was I took a screenshot and I sent that to him. And
see, I didn't know what was going on. I was reading the comment as it was coming down, and I was in the process of reading it, and I was like, okay, why'd that just get redacted? I'm like, well, maybe he took it out, and I didn't know the backstory until we started talking about it.
Yeah, he's. I mean, we all know. I mean, Dieter knows him. Dieter knows him well, and I mean, it's just a long story behind it.
As Dieter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it's just been. We were having a kick at it on just because of what he done with the rent-free thing. So, but we still got 18 people in here. Hour and 45 minutes. Appreciate y'all coming in. Mike Irvin just jumped in. Appreciate you. Christy Bound's been listening to us in the background while she's working.
Nice.
So,
is there any other questions that you can think?
Yeah, if y'all got questions, shoot them up.
Because I'll have some home buyers that's going to want me to call me in a minute, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. You got to get back to work. Yeah, you're not done. You're not done with work just yet.
I sure
let me get your, since you've been doing this a little bit longer than me. I've been doing fishing quite a bit. Let me see if I can find some of them. I know I've got a bunch of them here. Little Zoom baits.
Yep.
What do you think about them?
I like them. Once again, I haven't purchased any outright. Some of those that I found floating on the surface, there was a bag of those in there, and I've used them. I haven't had good luck on them myself, but that, once again, that's not saying anything. So, if I try something and don't have kind of success pretty quickly with it, I'll fall back into my go-to. And it's strictly because of this. Like, summer for me with my work is bad. Last year with the COVID stuff, we were 60 hours a week. So I get one day to fish, and then I've got, whenever time I can try to squeeze in there for editing. And so it just becomes really tough. So I think that's kind of what, if I had more time to fish, I would probably try a lot more things. But with me having such limited time, if it's just one day to go fish, I'm not going out and testing stuff. I'm going to go to my go-to stuff so I can catch fish, because you feel that's, I guess, too, with the YouTube stuff, once again, I don't have direction on it, but I feel pressured right now. Like, you've got to catch fish. I got to have some type of fish. I can't have a channel about fishing and not go out there and catch nothing. Yeah. So it kind of
I was in the same boat too, because I've done I think I've done 2 live catfishing videos.
Yeah.
And they're both 2 hours long, or 2 hours long, I think, or 4.
Yeah.
There was 4 hours long or something. And I got skunked. Went walleye fishing and got skunked.
Yeah.
And then I went a couple other times and got skunked. And I'm like going, I've got to get fish on a video.
Yeah. But there is, like I said, I've watched even Avid. You watch Avid and Sean go out. I've seen their lives. It's entertaining. They're still entertaining you with their conversation. Yes. I don't put enough credit in myself to feel like I'm entertaining to talk if I'm not catching fish. So,
what about doing something like what I
did? You're live?
Yeah. What about something like that?
That would be awesome.
And I could sit down, or Lyle, or any of us would sit down, and we can be your host or guest host.
We'll have to talk once. Like I said, you and I need to do some fishing together. We're too close not to be able to,
absolutely.
Saturday, let's fish and I'll discuss it. That part I don't know anything about. I don't know as far as what I would need. Some of the areas I am going to be very spotty on cell phone service, especially that one creek I'm in. I'm so far back in there, and I've got bluffs on either side of me.
Yeah,
I'm lucky to get cell phone service back there. But it would definitely be intimidating. It was kind of even doing the first live. It's like, man, I was like, I hope I don't botch this, but I'm sure that didn't be the big stuff.
My first one was. It was dead winter in January, I think, and it was 32 degrees out with 3 foot of snow. Yeah, that was my first live, and in a place that I'd never fished at before by myself.
That's tough.
And I've never done a YouTube. I've never done a YouTube video. I think my first 2 videos were I think I did an unboxing, and then it was straight to that live.
Well, I'll have to try it. I'm definitely going to have to get into it. This is only the second, live I ever did. Did Mark's and yours, so at least that it's good having someone that can kind of lead the conversation. But yeah, it'd definitely be tough getting out there. Now, I think I would have a hard time doing it if I didn't have someone like you did, like with Lyle moderating.
Yeah,
because I could see myself. Sometimes I'm getting out there and I'm just so focused on what the fish are doing. That's where a lot of times I'm just not. I hate for the video because I'm at that point. I'm just focusing on trying to catch fish, trying to see what they're doing and paying attention. And a lot of times it's hard for me to be looking back over my shoulder at the tripod and talking. So
that's kind of like I was doing. I had my earpiece in. All I was using was my cell phone. It's a Cricket wireless cell phone, and then I had a little Bluetooth headset that I normally use for work.
Awesome. Was the sound coming through the Bluetooth? Okay, because that was perfect. I know that one time when you walk, close.
I was probably 40, 50 feet away from the camera, from the phone.
Yeah. And it sounded great. I was like, man, this is awesome. I was like, so, yeah. We need to plan up something here soon. We'll definitely talk. I'll get you guys to have to school me on the lives because I think it'd be fun to do, but I definitely need to get to.
There's another person in here just came in. Patriot James just dropped in. Appreciate you coming in, sir. You and Lyle, you and Lyle, Avid, and a few others have just been awesome supporters of the channel, supporting the small channels like me, especially like with Terry, with FishSmack, getting him on the shows.
I've got a question for him. Is his dialect? My grandfather was in the Marines, so he was based down there in Camp Lejeune, and most of my family is down there from Jacksonville and Swansboro. His dialect sounds exactly like someone around Jacksonville. Where is he located? Jacksonville.
He is in South Carolina or North Carolina.
I'm curious what part of North Carolina, because his dialect is very specific. A lot of people around Jacksonville, Swansboro, Morehead City have a very specific dialect. And when I heard him talking, I'm like, God, he sounds like a lot of my family members down there from that area. I was curious.
There it is. North Carolina, Kings Mountain.
Kings Mountain. I'm trying to think where that is.
It's over there off of Lake Wiley.
Okay.
Yeah, that area.
It took me back home when I heard his dialect. I'm like, man, that sounds like so many of my family members down there. I used to go down and stay with them off the base there growing up, and a lot of good memories.
But if the weather holds up, I'm definitely doing that live fishing again. I'm gonna go same creek, but I'm gonna go down the creek a lot farther down, and I'm gonna work my way back up.
How with Lyle doing the commentary on it and stuff, that really to me brought it together. I would see it really taking two people to pull it off and it be really entertaining. So
he says south of Charlotte.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, speaking of south of Charlotte, we were talking today. A bunch of guys were talking about today for work. And I'm actually, my product now for my business is actually coming out of Charlotte now, starting after the 11th of July. So that's going to be cool that he said that south of Charlotte. And I was like, that tells me it's going to be coming around his area. So
got it. Well, very good.
Anybody else have any questions? On any panfish tackle for either me or for Trey, because I think we might wrap it up because I think it's about 5 more minutes till Muskrat comes on with his kids with the rewards and stuff like that. So and I know Trey, I know you got to get back to work.
Yeah, now thank you, Kelly, for taking time to do this. I definitely appreciate it. So,
no problem, man. It's been. I knew I needed to do something a little different, and seeing you on Panfish, and then me and you talking quite a bit now. I was like, yeah, I need to instead of just doing some catfish tackle. I mean, we need to talk about a little bit about the panfish stuff because I mean,
yeah,
we're all bait fishers, we're all pan fishers at the start. So
yeah. I've been thinking about trying to do some videos like that, doing some cast net videos, or like I said, it's stuff you don't think about. You know, a lot of people, I guess, that are getting into it, it's like stuff that we may, you know, take for granted that we've learned up to this point. You know, there are people that are getting into it that don't, you know, or so.
I think they said you were up to 156 now.
Oh wow, man! Thank you guys. I greatly appreciate that. So
yeah, I appreciate you all hooking him up, sharing this out. It's been a great trying to keep. I mean, we've had a steady hold on about anywhere from about 20 people. Right now, we got 15 in. So I mean, it's been a great show. Definitely check out next week on here. We're gonna have the Flatty Daddies on here. Me and him's been talking back and forth. So we're definitely gonna have him on the show. Evan. I saw your comment there. Yeah, about having a co-host while doing live fishing. I mean, it could be even for catfishing. I mean, it don't have to be just for creek fishing. I mean, even for some of the guys that's out there catfishing and stuff. I mean, you got to really concentrate on those poles to watch them for the takedown. So it's been. I mean, you kind of almost have to. It's kind of like what Stan does. When Stan does his Stan days on Sundays, he kind of is the host. And while his son and Dan from Green Machines, if he's with them, or the girls are with him, he's basically the one sitting there watching the chat, answering questions, hollering out.
To it. Like I said, because that gives you time to fish, like I said, on yours, and then Lyle's reading comments.
Yeah.
And like I said, and it's again then him feeding those comments to you or letting you interact with the people, because that's what to me, that's I think the benefit of the live. People are there like, hey, I want to connect with this person, and that's for me too. If someone pops in, where Bobby or TJ, Greg, whoever to James, all these guys. I mean, it's like you want to take the time to recognize them and connect with them. I think that's the fun part about the lives, Yeah. So, but I definitely I think that's a good idea the way you did that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and like I said, guys, appreciate y'all coming in here. I said it at the first of the show. We do have a new merch shirt for the Bullock Experience. I'll show it again. It is in. They are based on orders. So if you want one, just let me know. I go ahead and tell you they are $30 free shipping. They will be shipped out free. They are made by a local person here in town. So there's not no big company or anything like that. I don't have to pre-made 20 or 30 shirts and be sitting on them. So you order one, I order that specific one for you. We could do them in this gray. I think we're going to do black and white, and we're going to still come up with a few other colors. We've got stickers coming out. They're going to be 6x6 stickers. I think they're going to run somewhere around about $6, I believe, for them, because they're a little on the bigger side. Just because of the type of material that we're using on the sticker. We're going to use the same chameleon style color, the greenish blue color or an orangish red color style. So they're going to be, we have to be able to get that design on it. We have to go with a bigger size, and then we're looking into doing hand towels for the bank or boat, so you can wipe your hands off with the same design on them. So be looking out for those. But if you want a shirt, just hit me up either on Messenger or email through on my About page, or you can text me on my phone number. I think I put it in the description. You can text me or whatever. Just let me know what size you want, and then we'll get you hooked up. Usually the turnaround is just a few days, I think, right now. So
I like design. Sure.
Yeah, it is. It's unique. I've talked to a few other people. They've not seen a design or this type of chameleon color on anybody else's stuff. So that's what I wanted to go after. So, but yeah, we've already got 2 shirts already sold this week, so got them on the works being made right now. Should have them out by the end of the week, definitely. But appreciate y'all coming in. Make sure you go over and see Roger with Muskrat Adventures. He should be on right now with the word show for the kids. So appreciate y'all coming in, and we will see you the next time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Kelly. Thanks to each and every one of you.
Yeah, stick around, Trey. We'll talk this a little bit after the show. So,
okay.
All right. See y'all. Check y'all on the next one. Make sure you check in next week for Flighty Daddies.